Okay, today we're cooking Instant Pot short ribs. And because it's in the Instant Pot, we're going to have a lot of time to relax and enjoy. It's going to be quick. My friend Trisha at work turned me on to this recipe, and it's a Amy and Jackie pressure cooker recipe, but I've kind of modified a little bit with the ingredients that I had on hand. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and get started. The ingredients are, we're starting with about 2 pounds of short ribs. You can double the number of short ribs if you have a bigger family, but I just have 2 of us to feed tonight. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and get started. First thing we're going to do is brown the short ribs on all the sides on our Instant Pot set on saute and hot. And now that it says hot, I know that the saute is ready to go. If it doesn't say hot, if it just says on, you're not hot enough yet. So let's put the ribs in. Okay, beef short ribs. I'm going to remove these to a plate. And don't worry, because they haven't cooked at all, they've just browned to get a little bit of good flavor in your pan. All right, next thing we're going to do is add our vegetables. So we have some chopped garlic, some onion, about 1 to 2 onions, depending on how much you like onion flavor. I put 1.5. I've got 2 chopped celeries and some carrots. I got the baby carrots that are mixed colors, but any kind of carrots you like. Okay, we've still got our pot on saute. It still has to come up to heat again. We're going to just saute the veggies around a little bit here. We're going to add a little bit of thyme. Fresh or dried. And a couple of bay leaves. And we're going to continue to mix and saute the vegetables. Just for like a minute or two, so they get a little bit soft. We're going to pressure cook all this together anyway. Looks pretty good already. These are the little red carrots. But use whatever carrots you like, whatever onions you like. These are Mayan onions. I kind of like the flavor of Mayan onions. But if you like brown onions, yellow onions, whatever you prefer. Okay, next thing we're going to do, the vegetables are a little bit soft. We're going to add about 1/2 cup of good red wine. I used Cabernet Sauvignon. And what you're adding this for, basically you want to deglaze the pot. So get a nice flat-handled spatula, wood preferably, so you don't scratch your pot. And I don't have much to deglaze here. That's good. There's nothing, you don't want to have stuff burnt on the bottom of your pot before you pressure cook, because the cooker has trouble coming to pressure when it doesn't have the liquid at the bottom of the pot. So there is the red wine. Now we're going to add some more ingredients. About a tablespoon of soy sauce. And now a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. If you have fish sauce or oyster sauce, you can use that instead, but I generally cook with Worcestershire. Okay, now we add an ounce or 2 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar. Next we add 1.5 to 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. All right, next a half a cup of broth. I'm using Better Than Bouillon beef base, but you can use chicken broth or vegetable broth, whatever you've got on hand. Stir everything together. We are going to add our ribs back in. Then I cut in two, about 3 or 4 potatoes, put them in a stainless steel bowl. They're going to go on top of your ribs. Grab your lid, make sure it's set to sealing rather than venting, and we cover the whole thing. We're going to set to pressure, and we're going to go up to 45 minutes. All right, it's on. We're set to sealing. As soon as this comes to pressure, 45 will show up on the display and it'll cook. And when it's done, we'll make our sauce and that'll be it. Okay, the button has popped up, so this should set to pressure time pretty soon here. And it's been about 10 minutes or so that I've put everything together and put the lid on. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes for everything to come to pressure. There we go, 45 minutes. Okay, time to go have some wine, or in my case, a gin and tonic. We'll be back 45 later. Minutes period is ended, and now we're in a cool down period, and this is known as a natural pressure release. When this beeps down from the 45 minutes to 0, you can release the pressure at that time, but with meat sometimes they recommend just letting the pressure naturally release. So we're going to wait about 15 minutes. There's 7 minutes already on here. We're going to wait about 15 minutes to release the pressure, and that will help ensure that the meat is tender. And since it's a weekend, I don't really have, you know, time constraints. If it was during the week, I might have released the pressure right when the 45 minutes was up. But we're going to wait for the 15 minutes and then be back. Okay, we've hit 15 minutes of a natural release cool down period. So we are going to release the pressure, whatever's left. Really smells so good. Okay, we're ready to open this up. Okay, we've got potatoes that are ready to be mashed and a delicious beef short ribs below. So let's remove the potatoes and then we'll continue. We've removed the potatoes and we're going to mash them however you like. I'm just going to make regular mashed potatoes with butter and milk and maybe a little salt and pepper, but you can put sour cream or whatever else you like in your mashed potatoes. And if you prefer, you can use a blender to blend this to make really creamy mashed potatoes, but I just usually use my masher to make my potatoes. Okay, we've added some butter. Now normally you should mash your potatoes and remove whatever chunks you have before you add the milk. About a quarter or a third of a cup of milk. Then we've got our ribs that look really good. We're going to remove the beef to a plate while we thicken the gravy. Look how tender these got. Okay, so we have our juice there. I'm going to set this back to saute. First I'm going to have to cancel what I'm doing. Set to saute. We've got about 3 tablespoons of cornstarch and about 3 tablespoons of water. So cornstarch with cold water mixes quite readily. It makes a nice little gravy, nice little slurry. And when you add it to your juices that you've cooked, it's going to make a great gravy. Going to thicken it up really nicely. So we've got this on saute again. And we're just going to cook it until it thickens to whatever thickness you like the gravy to be. Usually about 3 tablespoons of cornstarch and 3 tablespoons of water should do pretty well for something this size. I like the nice chunks of carrots we've got in there. Looks like it's thickening up pretty nicely. And this is pretty nice gravy consistency that I personally think is pretty nice. Pretty good. The longer you cook it, the thicker it'll get. And that's about right for me. So we're going to turn off the saute function. Still kind of bubbling there for a minute or two. It's going to thicken up a little bit. And let's plate this up. Looks really delicious. The gravy came out just perfectly nice. We've got some of our short ribs, some of the vegetables, some potatoes. Time to eat. Thanks for watching.